Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Genshin Impact set of reactions. Today we have two songs that are gonna actually run the video pretty long, but we had a comment from Sky K that wanted me to get to both of these, and one of them was actually doubled up with everybody's favorite punching bag, including mine. Our shit did not win the comment this time, but was pretty close. I call him a punching bag, but really it's just kind of neat that he gets constantly and consistently up to the top of the request pool, so like his requests must be popular, people really want me to get to him, but at least he gets one out of the two this time, and we'll see about next time and what we get to there. But either way, let's get to what these songs have in store for us. So Tumaini, Washa, Moto, which I believe is probably going to be similar in feel to Sifu Moto from last time, and also to The End of All Wars, which I saw somebody in the comments say the superhero theme, and we're starting there, so I'm not sure what that's going to be about. So without further ado, let's go. I immediately understand. Very cinematic. I'm getting that vibe out of it. Woo! Come on. It's even following like similar rules to modern superhero themes. They knew what they were doing. Ooh, a chuff. Was that a chuff on the flute? I don't think I've heard that on like a Western flute in a song in a while. I can't put my finger on it, but I swear I've actually heard this motif before. It might just be similar to something, but feels really familiar, like I've heard it in other songs. Maybe there is a motif here. Maybe area specific. Ooh, shivers in that. What great use of all of that. All that organic sound. Pulling in more of the location influence on this. With all that, like, swelling it in. That was really cool. I was listening to the vocal parts on that one. I can speak words today. I really love that step down. It's a beautiful vocal part. Such a good note. Ooh. What a punch to the gut to finish off. Jeez. All right. I get it. I see why that's called the superhero theme. All right, first things first, I know I probably put a little describer of what a chuff is for that flute part. I went back to listen to it though, and I don't believe that it's actually a chuff in there. I believe that that is just a different flute, like a lead flautist coming in and playing their part slightly higher than the rest of the parts underneath it, and just kind of creating that effect with how they came in. It was very abrupt, so I think it just kind of gave my ear the feeling that there was a chuff in there. But the way that they did it was they kind of like did like a triple like they had this gap in there that felt kind of like they were chuffing, and that's where my brain went. But it was really just them playing 3 notes in a triplet pretty quick, you know, like it wasn't the same thing, but it kind of had a similar effect in the ear. But either way, that's really cool and very creative in the writing process to like include a rhythmic thing like that in the woodwinds. That's not too common. Usually they're very long-winded, no pun intended, and it's just not as aggressive when it comes to having those weird patterns thrown in. So doing that is really interesting, and it made the entire moment there feel that much more whimsical and free. It really opened it up and felt more of like a high-flying theme than it could have been without that. Just that little moment there kind of solidified that in my brain. I was like, oh, this is a much bigger world. Like, it's like I opened an entire landscape in front of me. It was so pretty, and I love how they included that. Such a great decision, and overall, this entire song felt like that, but that one moment really stood out to me. I also mentioned how this song kind of felt like it was following all the superhero theme tropes, and while I do believe a good portion of that does land on the overall motif in this song and how that's probably borrowed from another main theme in this game, in this area, that's also kind of part of the superhero energy. Everything is just large, uplifted, there's a lot of bravado behind it, and there's a lot of major chords included. Like, everything feels high-flying and very free, open, and proud instead of depressing, sad, etc. There's a lot less minor chords that would lead to that sort of assumption. But there's actually a really good video by the YouTuber Sideways about this exact sort of thing and how music themes work out for superheroes. And if you want to learn more about that, I highly recommend giving that a listen. It uses some more traditional classic examples like the original Superman theme, and then also into like the newer stuff like Spider-Man Homecoming. So there's a lot to learn from that video, and I feel like I would just be treading that exact script if I were to be talking about it myself. So I think it's safer to say, after you're done watching this, go watch that. And I think it would end up being a better learning experience than whatever my yapping ends up managing to congeal into a sentence. But on the side of my own opinions here, I love how long they waited to blend the world that this song is in with like the overall more stereotypical kind of just Western sound that they were going for here, where they started to include the instruments from the location and all of that worldly inspiration to make it just one, you know, like it felt like two worlds colliding at the perfect time. They held off just long enough to make you want to feel something else in there, and then once they added those shakers in there and they kind of like brought in all of this other texture, you were like, whoa. Like I said, I got shivers at that point because I wasn't really expecting it to happen like that, but once it did, it hit really hard and it hit fantastically. So they really knocked it out of the park with this one. Definitely what I would also claim to be a superhero theme, something with all of this bravado behind it, is 100% that energy. And again, if you want to learn more about that, definitely go check out Sideways' video because it is really good and goes into a lot more of the nitty-gritty about how the overall theme world works for music. But anyway, let's actually get into Tumaini Washa Moto so I can see what that song sounds like. And like I said, kind of expecting to hear Sifu Moto in here, maybe a little bit of that sound, at least that same world inspiration. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ooh. It's darker. It definitely sounds more like the one we just listened to, so maybe I was wrong. Ooh. It's gotta be like a battle theme. It's got battle written all over it. The tension, the stress. Ooh, adding some haunting beauty to it. Okay. The dip on that ocarina, though. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous use of that pitch bend. Really good rhythmic choice too. Ooh. I love that you can tell that's a real choir. But they're doing it so well, you almost may be fooled. That's beautiful. Woo, went up. Beautiful, big energy there. Adoring how haunting this ocarina is. That's so beautiful. Holy shit, that was gorgeous. So it was kind of a blend of Sifumoto and To the End of All Wars. Like, it had more of that influence of the Western sound than Sifumoto did, but it had the Swahili in there as well. So, like, definitely still borrowing from that area. And of course, the ocarina being a beautiful main lead instrument here with all those haunting pitch bends. I was geeking out about those so hard. I don't hear much use of the ocarina as like a haunting instrument. It's usually used to beautify things more often than not, but it has such a potential for doing exactly this, and it's just not used as much as I really think it should be. If it wasn't clear by the very end of that song with how that just slight tone came in and was just off enough, it just tweaked the whole sound down a little bit right at its final moment. That's exactly what I mean. Like, being able to take all of this big grandiose tone and pull it back. Like, there was a lot more minor chords in this one. It was a lot more of that like depressive sound than the prior song. So like there was definitely a lot of that, but just I love it when people use instruments in ways that I've always been like, this would be perfect, but it never gets used like that. I've heard pitch bends used. Obviously, they get used quite often with ocarinas because it's pretty easy to do to play the ocarina. A pitch bend is pretty easy because it can be controlled by just controlling how much air you put into the instrument, but also like where your finger slides on an ocarina hole, be it a 4-hole or like a 12. The way that you play is blowing into that hole, and then in order to like do certain things like changing notes and fluttering, you would lift just like you would a regular flute, and to pitch bend you can just push more air out your mouth. But there are also some designs of ocarinas that have like smaller holes in order to add more notes that you can then plug while you're playing, and it'll change just slightly over that gradient time to be able to change to the other note. It's a really cool effect. Ocarinas are definitely undersung overall in music. They need to be used more. They're such a beautiful, beautiful tone. And that's not my bias to The Legend of Zelda talking either. It's like, sure, that's where I was introduced to the concept of an ocarina and where I first learned how to play one, but at the same time, it's like, I wish they were used overall more. I just don't hear them enough. So having that influence in Natlan feels so good to me, and is one of the main reasons I love the sound of this part of the world. It's just amazing, and I cannot get over it. But yeah, this was really cool, all in its own right. Of course, I say that all the time. I swear it's pretty cool. It's basically my motto here. But god damn it, this one had so much character to it. It had so much fun playing around with all of those pitch bends and all of that, just like the angelic voices up top too, just making everything feel like there's something just not connecting. There's something way above that you just can't reach, and it's like, God, it felt so good. Especially because the vocalists were like so clean and so precise with their notes that while you could tell it was definitely like a live choir recording, because of the way that the voice works, you can definitely tell when it's not like a keyboard playing a synthesizer for a vocal. It's just, there's something about the timing that feels way more organic when you get actual people, of course. But this just sounded so angelic. It was almost too perfect in a way that your brain was like, there's something not right here, but you can't quite place your finger on it. It's almost like an uncanny valley effect for the voice. It's really cool. It's like when you experience a lyre bird doing something like crying like a human baby. It's a really weird sensation to kind of see that. It's cool in its own way, but also that shouldn't be there. You know, like there's something that's unsettling about that for a lot of people. I find it more cool because I think nature is really cool in that way, but some people are really off put by that sort of thing, and I don't necessarily blame them either. This kind of gives me that effect where like things are up here and it's like, where are they? I can't see who's singing. There's just something else happening way beyond my reach, and it makes me want to figure out what it is. But also, like, do I want to? Because the rest of the song is suggesting I shouldn't. It's trying to make me scared to. It's trying to make me feel like I can't. And I love that. That is absolutely the pinnacle of how to make a song feel like something is unreachable, by matching something so beautifully angelic, but also so tantalizingly creepy. I think that metaphor may be falling apart a little bit, but I'm sure some of you can understand what I mean at very least. Either way, just like every other song I've heard from Natlin, absolutely gorgeous. But anyway, that'll be about all I gotta say for this one. I've definitely yapped enough in this one, and I'm sure this is gonna be quite the long video already. So if you have anything else you want me to get to and listen to, by all means, leave a comment down below, and I will do my best, as always, to get to them. Maybe Harshit will get the next one, and we'll see. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to follow me and support me for more in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!